Should brands be using Google Ads to drive traffic to their Amazon listings? This is the topic of a very controversial debate, as advocates argue that brands who leverage Google Ads see an increase in their product's ranking, and it helps them generate more organic sales. It's also believed that both cost per clicks and ACOS are typically lower on Google than they are on Amazon. However, the skeptics out there will argue that all of this is completely overrated. So to settle the debate, we ran a 90-day case study on our product, testing the true impact of using Google Ads to drive traffic to Amazon. And through our data, we found some very convincing insights that even stretch beyond our board here. So make sure you stick around until the end to hear all of those, as well as to see the secret weapon that we use to get amazing results. And I'm not just adding that in for retention purposes. We did actually utilize a really successful Google to Amazon strategy. So now let's take a deep dive into this 90-day case study. Over the past 8 years, Jungle Scout's been publicly launching and scaling our own products on Amazon. This has given us a testing ground to try out new strategies before sharing them with all of you. But despite our success on Amazon, we've yet to explore the potential of leveraging Google Ads. However, we understand the importance of an omni-channel approach. So in order for us to continue growing, we need to start meeting our customers not just where we are, but where they are. And right now, a lot of our customers are searching for our products on Google. But unfortunately, because none of these products belong to us, our competitors are easily winning all of these customers. Even if they were to click on this top result here, they'll be taken to an Amazon search page with, again, our competitors, but this time they're paying top dollar for sponsored ads. This creates a highly competitive environment where we always need to be outbidding our competitors for no more than a 25% chance of winning the click. This is exactly why we turned to Google Ads to revolutionize the purchasing journey. By placing an ad at the top of the page, now when customers search for our product, they'll bypass the competition and go straight to the source, us. And not only can we send them directly to our product, but we can also send them to our storefront. This makes it easier for shoppers to learn more about our products without being distracted from all those competitor ads trying to steal our traffic. But here's the thing, for this case study to work, we don't want to just open a Google Ads account and copy over all of our Amazon keywords. Although it might have been a little bit easier, doing it that way has two major downsides. First, because buying intent is different on both platforms, you need to have two completely different ad strategies. On Amazon, it's pretty simple. Most everyone who searches is looking for a product to buy. So for the most part, all sellers need to worry about is what campaign type they're going to use and making sure they're using keywords that are high volume and also relevant. Whereas on Google, because more shoppers are in the research phase, it's really important to only use keywords that have a high level of buyer intent. But on top of that, you also have to configure a bunch of additional campaign settings and ad copy that is 100% optimized for driving traffic to Amazon. And the second major downside is that Google and Amazon do not talk to each other, which means Amazon doesn't know what keywords you're using or how much you're spending on them, and Google doesn't know how many shoppers have added your product to their carts or made a purchase. And even if you are using Amazon attribution links, there's still no capability on Amazon that can feed metrics to and from both platforms. This lack of visibility is often the #1 deal breaker that brands have against using Google Ads. And it certainly was an issue for us as well, at least until we met the guys over at Amped.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, Jake. Good to be here.
Hey, Jake. Hey.
Now, the reason we turned to Amped is because they're the most powerful Google to Amazon solution on the planet. They have this amazing self-serve technology that officially closes the attribution gap by connecting all of your Google and Amazon data together. So where Google has your spend and Amazon has your sales, Amped has both. But before we went any further, I first just wanted to make sure that we weren't going to be wasting our money and that our product was going to be a good fit for Google Ads.
So I've got a question for you. How can we know if Google is going to be a good fit for our product?
Yeah, it's a great question. We get asked it all the time. It's actually why we developed what we call Amped Benchmark. You drop in your ASIN right here. So I dropped in my ASIN here and we hit benchmark, and our engine spits out analysis and insights and gives you an insight into what you can kind of expect from Google Ads. In this case, Amped Benchmark was able to identify that this product, a P-pad, probably has a lifetime value. So it's something where you probably want to think about Google as a cost per acquisition because you probably are going to have repeat customers. So here you can see that Amped Benchmark saying, hey, think about this as a lifetime value opportunity when you measure your ROI. Then down here, we're getting indicators that are looking pretty good. Looking at keywords that are relevant to your product that Amped Benchmark went out and found, we're able to find some insight into the search volume. So a lot of opportunity, a lot of customers are searching Google, and we can see that our CPC range is looking pretty good. Anytime you're below, or around that dollar mark or lower, oftentimes that's less than Amazon ads on a per click basis, which indicates that Google can be a really productive channel.
Awesome. So it looks like we got the green great for the review benchmark and the high costs for cost per click. However, looking at the average top of page cost per click, that's significantly lower than what I know we're paying on Amazon. So even though it says high cost for us, that's significantly low for us. So that's awesome. If you guys can real quick explain to me though, what would be a worst case scenario where a product shouldn't be advertising on Google, whether it's reviews or cost per click? Is there any information you can give us there?
Yeah, definitely. So the way the analysis engine works is, since it's looking at data across all of our thousands of campaigns and different product categories, it's able to draw insights from that to help understand your product in your category. So if this was a product in a category that we know is really difficult from a conversion rate standpoint on how people search Google and then buy on Amazon, that would surface here. So for example, that would look like a big red stop sign. It would say not a fit for Google at the top and help you understand, hey, you know what? Maybe I should look at a different channel for this product. But in this case, it's getting the green indicators. Yes, we're kind of getting that yellow flag of the high cost CPC benchmark, but then you got to put it in perspective of where your other clicks are and how expensive they are. So it will come out with a variety of different outcomes and kind of recommendations, with the goal here is to empower an Amazon brand who's never advertised on Google before, some insights and some indicators so that they can make an informed decision if they decide to invest in Google ads. If you click on that, talk to a Google expert, it's going to connect you with someone on the AMP team to schedule a call. They can help you interpret the results of this output, or you can obviously try other products. So definitely encourage you, if you have a larger catalog, try a variety of products. Some products are going to light up on Google ads and some are not. So if you have a larger catalog, try a few different variations, see what kind of results you're getting, and that should help you inform which products you want to test on Google ads.
Great. Well, thank you guys.
You bet, Jake.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Now, just like we did, you can see whether or not your product's a good fit for Google ads by doing a free evaluation using the link in the pinned comment down below. Okay, so after we got the green light from Amped, we officially teamed up with them to expand our off Amazon marketing. But here's the best part. Even though it is a self-serve platform, we took complete advantage of their technology to curate the most effective ads, budgets, and keywords that were specific to our product. What it came up with was 4 customized campaigns, each with their own objective. 1 targeting our most valuable keywords, 1 targeting keywords with high Amazon buying intent, 1 directing traffic to our storefront, and another one targeting more top of funnel keywords. So what we did is we let these run for 90 days, but as soon as we started collecting data, just like automatic campaigns on Amazon, in the background, Amp's technology was continually optimizing for both conversion and profitability. So now, without ever leaving Amped, we have complete visibility on both the campaign and keyword level. We're able to see exactly what keywords drove the most add to carts, conversions, and by far my favorite part about it is that Amped automatically applied our Amazon attribution links to all of our campaigns, giving us the amount we earned back in brand referral bonus. This allows us to easily see not just how profitable we are, but our profitability after the 10% referral bonus. Now let's get into the results here and figure out whether or not our Google campaigns measured up to each of these 4 claims here. And we'll start first with the product ranking. So did Google Ads help increase our product's ranking? To find out, we'll look at 2 indicators. First, we'll check a few of our top keywords and see whether or not the organic rank changed. And then secondly, we'll look at our product's BSR to see if there's been any noticeable changes there. So here inside Rank Tracker, we can easily monitor both our organic and sponsored keyword rankings over time. I have this view set up for the duration of our case study, and we're going to be looking at this data on a daily level. I've also pulled in 5 keywords that I've noticed had significant organic growth throughout this case study. And as you can see, as we get down to these bottom 2 here, it's really interesting to note that prior to Google Ads, we actually weren't organically ranking at all for these keywords. Now, of course, this most likely isn't 100% attributed to just Google Ads, but when you're able to capture strong data like this, it's hard not to see the correlation. Here's another example. These 2 keywords at the top here have consistently trended upwards from around the 45th organic position all the way to the top 15. Identifying trends like these are exactly why we do these types of case studies. So while we can't say for sure that Google Ads alone is the root cause of all this, there's plenty of reason, and also in our case, data, to prove that Amazon is actively rewarding products that consistently drive external traffic to Amazon. And outside of increased organic rank, there's another more concrete way that off Amazon traffic is getting rewarded. But before we get there, let's now jump over and check out our product's BSR. So I'm on our listing here, and I have this view set to monthly, and I'm also going to include the past year of data just for your reference. And again, for context, we launched our Google campaigns on the 1st of January. So prior to Google, the previous 2 months were around 12 and 13,000. And as you can see, over the course of the next 3 months, we got as low as 6,000. We essentially cut our BSR in half. Now, we have slightly gone back up since then, but that's mostly a result of us intentionally slowing things down as we're waiting on new inventory to arrive. But throughout the 90 days that we ran this case study, I think the trends speak for themselves, that at least in our case, we did see a noticeable lift in our product's ranking. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how much of this growth was a result of our on Amazon advertising sales? Well, if we take a look at our advertising analytics, we can see the breakdown of our organic and sponsored Amazon sales. As you can see in light orange, in the first month that we turned on Google Ads, our ad sales actually decreased by $4,000. In month 2, our ad sales did go slightly up, but still remained below our initial starting point of $19,000 in December. And then in month 3, we did increase ad sales again, but only by about $2,000 more than where we first started. However, this is nothing when compared to the lift we saw in organic sales. As seen in dark orange, our organic sales consistently grew each and every month post Google Ads, starting at $8,000 at the end of Q4 and finishing at $22,000 in March. That's an organic growth of $14,000. However, there is one very important piece missing here, and that's our Google ad sales. Now, because this view isn't accounting for those sales, currently they're all being attributed as organic Amazon sales. And that's not right. So to be a little more accurate here in our analysis, let's correct this view by subtracting our monthly Google ad sales from our organic Amazon sales. And by doing that here, we can now see a more precise picture of our true organic sales lift. Now, compared to our sponsored growth that increased only 13%, I feel pretty compelled now to say that while there's always going to be outside factors to consider, our Google ad strategy has certainly proven to be a valuable component in the organic sales lift. But again, I really want to emphasize this point here. Just because we're seeing positive results doesn't mean your products will too. I highly recommend just trying it out for yourself and seeing whether or not you have similar outcomes. And as I'm now about to show you, you can learn more about how Amped can help your brand scale with Google Ads by following the link in the pinned comment down below. Okay, so in our experience, we've seen positive results in these 2 categories here. But now let's do a deeper dive into our Amped account and compare profitability metrics between Google and Amazon. And to make sure this assessment is fair, we're only going to compare data from equivalent campaign types. In other words, because we used Google search ads with manually added keywords, it only really makes sense to compare that data with our Amazon sponsored product ads and specifically our manual keyword campaigns. So I've gone ahead and added all of those campaigns to a new portfolio here. Now, starting with our first metric, on average, the cost per click for these 4 campaigns was $2.29 on Amazon. But heading over to Amp now, in that same time period, and also with exactly 4 campaigns, our cost per click on Google was only 82 cents. And this is crazy because for the most part, these campaigns are using the exact same keywords. And here's a good example of one of our biggest keywords that we're paying 33 cents less on Google than we are on Amazon. Also, interesting to note as well is that our click-through rate on Google was significantly higher than our Amazon click-through rate. And if we zoom back out to the campaign level, you can see that there's really only a difference of about 450 clicks between the 2 platforms. So not only was our cost per click lower, but on Google, our click-through rate completely dwarfed Amazon's. However, it's also worth acknowledging that while our Google ads did a better job of converting impressions into clicks, on Amazon, we were able to get out in front of far more customers. Compared to Google, we served over 1 million more impressions. That's a pretty significant gap, but not all impressions are created equal. On Amazon, it's every advertiser's dream to win the top of search placement. Whether your goal is to increase purchases with sponsored product ads or to increase brand awareness with sponsored brand campaigns, this is typically where the majority of customers do the majority of their shopping. And because of that, advertisers on any platform are always looking for ways to win more impressions from those placements. Now, we already know that we got far more impressions on Amazon than we did on Google, but how many of those impressions came from top of search? Here we can see that out of our 4 campaigns, the 2 at the top won that placement around 8 to 10% of the time, and the 2 at the bottom won it less than 5%. Now, one thing I wasn't expecting when first starting this case study was the fact that Google would actually make these numbers look tiny in comparison. Here inside Amped, we can see that our Google impression share floated around 50 to 70% throughout this entire case study. But scrolling down to this next graph here will show that out of those impressions, we won the top of search placement around the same 50 to 70% range. This is really incredible because we already know that our cost per click is more affordable on Google, but now we know that those clicks were of higher quality. However, let's not confuse the quality of impressions and clicks with what really matters here: sales. Amazon was the clear winner here, bringing in over $7,000 in additional revenue. So for every 1 sale we got on Google, we got over 2.5 sales on Amazon. Now granted, we did spend over 3 times more on our Amazon ads. However, even though we did convert more sales, per dollar spent, our Amazon campaigns were not nearly as profitable as our Google campaigns. And to widen the gap even more, the Google ACOS you see on screen here does not include any revenue generated from the brand referral bonus. Although once you add in that amount, our adjusted ACOS comes down to 46%. This is now a much more noticeable difference than our Amazon ACOS. Over in Amped, we can even see this spelled out on the campaign level, letting us easily quantify the total amount earned, and right next to it, we have our adjusted ACOS. Now, not only do we get these insights on the campaign level, we can also drill it down to the keyword level. So depending on our current profitability goals, this makes it possible for us to quickly measure and fine-tune our keyword strategy with precision. But pulling back real quick, let's not lose track of the purpose behind this case study. We never wanted to test whether or not brands should replace their Amazon ad spend with Google ads. Rather, we wanted to collect enough actual data to help you decide if Google ads are worth investing in. And speaking from the results we've seen so far, if your goal is to increase your market share or return on ad spend, I certainly think it's worth at least testing Google ads for yourself. But if running a Google to Amazon campaign seems daunting, then trust me, there's no better solution than Amped. Built and designed specifically for Amazon, their self-serve technology provides an intelligently guided path to instantly launch and scale your Google campaigns. So make sure to check them out by clicking this link here, or you can also find it in the pinned comment down below. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and we'll see you in the next one.